Picture this. A 19-year-old from Newark drops a song so revolutionary that it literally rewrites the rules of hip-hop forever. One track, one question, one woman who refused to let anyone disrespect her or her sisters. But here's the crazy part. The industry tried to bury this record, and what happened next changed music history. This is the story of how Queen Latifah became the most dangerous woman in hip-hop. Before we dive deep, let's talk about 1993. Hip-hop was still finding its voice, and women? They were expected to play supporting roles. Then along comes Dana Owens. Yeah, that's Queen Latifah's real name, with a record that had executives shook. We're talking about U.N.I.T.Y, a song that didn't just break barriers, it obliterated them. But what most people don't know is the real story behind why this track almost never saw the light of day. And trust me, when you hear what really went down, you'll understand why some people in the industry wanted this woman silenced. The background journey. To understand the earthquake that was about to hit, we need to go back to the beginning. Dana Owens wasn't born into privilege. Growing up in Newark and East Orange, New Jersey, she witnessed firsthand the struggles that would later fuel her fire. At 18, she's already making waves with her debut, All Hail the Queen. But the industry's trying to box her in. They want her to rap about the typical stuff. You know what I'm talking about. But Latifah, she's got other plans. Here's where it gets interesting. While other female rappers were being pushed to objectify themselves or tear each other down, Latifah was in the studio cooking up something completely different, something that would make grown men in boardrooms uncomfortable. The inspiration for U.N.I.T.Y came from her own experiences, being catcalled on the street, watching her friends get disrespected, seeing how society treated black women like disposable objects. But instead of staying quiet, she decided to weaponize her pain. The revolutionary moment. Now, here's where the story gets wild. When Latifah first brought U.N.I.T.Y to her label, the reaction was, let's say, mixed. Some executives literally said, "This is too aggressive. Women don't want to hear this." Can you imagine? They're telling a woman what women want to hear. But Latifah didn't just push back. She went to war. The track itself was revolutionary. That opening line, you know the one, it wasn't just a question, it was a declaration. For the first time, a mainstream hip-hop record was directly challenging men who disrespected women. Not subtly, not politely, directly. And the music video? Pure genius. Latifah didn't just talk about standing up to harassment. She showed it. That scene where she confronts the guy on the street? That wasn't acting. That was activism set to a beat. But here's the part that'll blow your mind. Radio stations initially refused to play it. Program directors said it was too confrontational for their audience. Translation? They were scared of a black woman with something to say. The industry resistance, 7:30–10:08. The pushback was immediate and intense. Behind closed doors, industry insiders were calling Latifah everything but her name. Some radio programmers straight up said they wouldn't touch the record. Even some hip-hop heads weren't feeling it initially. The culture was still very male-dominated, and here comes this woman basically reading the entire gender for filth. Some rappers felt attacked. But then something beautiful happened. The streets spoke. Women started requesting the song on radio. They'd call stations non-stop, asking for that Queen Latifah record. DJs who tried to ignore it found themselves losing listeners. The song became an underground phenomenon before it exploded mainstream. Women were sharing bootleg cassettes like it was contraband, and in many ways, it was. It was contraband against a system that wanted to keep women quiet. The cultural impact, 10 o'clock, 13:11. When U.N.I.T.Y finally broke through, it didn't just climb the charts, it rewrote them. But the real impact was in the streets, in the clubs, in the conversations happening around kitchen tables. For the first time, women had an anthem, not a love song, not a breakup song, but a straight-up declaration of war against disrespect. The Grammy win in 1995, that was just the cherry on top. What really mattered was how the song changed conversations. Suddenly, women felt empowered to speak up. The phrase, "Who you callin' out your name?" became part of the cultural lexicon. But here's what's crazy. Some people still didn't get it. Critics called it reverse sexism. Imagine that. Calling out disrespect was somehow discriminatory against the people doing the disrespecting. The broader legacy. 13 Aleph, 16 Aleph. U.N.I.T.Y. opened doors that had been locked shut. After Latifah proved that conscious rap from women could sell, suddenly labels were looking for the next conscious female MC. But more than that, it changed how we talk about respect in relationships, in society, everywhere. That song created a template for how to address social issues through hip-hop that artists are still following today. Think about it. Every time a female rapper today calls out sexism, misogyny, or disrespect, they're walking through a door Queen Latifah kicked down in 1993. The personal cost. But success came with a price. Latifah found herself constantly having to defend the song, explain why women deserved respect. Imagine having to explain that. The mental toll of being a spokesperson for an entire gender while trying to maintain your artistry? That's pressure most artists never face. She dealt with death threats, industry blacklisting attempts, and constant criticism from people who thought she was too militant, all for asking to be treated with basic human dignity. The modern relevance. Fast forward to today, and U.N.I.T.Y. hits different. In the #MeToo era, in a time when women's voices are finally being heard, that song sounds prophetic. Young artists like Megan Thee Stallion, City Girls, and others carry that torch. The right to demand respect while being unapologetically themselves. They exist because Queen Latifah refused to be silenced. But here's what's wild. We still need that message. The fact that women are still fighting for basic respect in 2024 proves just how ahead of her time Latifah was. The climax revelation. Here's the thing that'll give you chills. Queen Latifah didn't just make a song, she started a movement. That track became a blueprint for how hip-hop could address social justice, how women could claim their power, and how one voice could change an entire culture. The industry tried to contain her, control her, silence her. Instead, she became untouchable. From music to movies to television, she built an empire on the foundation of refusing to accept disrespect. The resolution. So when someone asks, "Who you callin'?" the answer isn't just about Queen Latifah. It's about every woman who ever found her voice, every girl who learned she didn't have to accept mistreatment, every person who realized they had the right to demand better. Queen Latifah didn't just unleash a song. She unleashed a generation of women who refused to be silenced. And 30 years later, that power is still reverberating through every speaker, every stage, and every space where women refuse to be anything less than respected. That's the real legacy of U.N.I.T.Y. Not just a hit record, but a battle cry that echoes through time. Queen Latifah didn't just change hip-hop, she changed the world, but that's of Queen Latifah's story. Next week, we're diving into how she conquered Hollywood while the music industry was still trying to figure out what hit them. Trust me, you don't want to miss this one.